I've got to say, though, back to the Rubik pickup from DogChamp, that is obviously a very nice pick here for that Radiant side of things. You kind of already pointed it out, but I suppose whenever you are up against the Shadow Shaman, you do have just pretty much any spell you want to steal is good for the Rubik. And I'm sure that they are going to have a very nice time on that Rubik this game. Still, fourth pickup now for DogChamp. Are we waiting for another position 5 here? Are we doing something weird with this puck? Only time's going to tell. They could just pick up another core pickup here on DogChamp if they so wish.
It should be the Luki hero. I think that's the only thing they've really got left here. Or Pos 5, actually, because Puck plus Rubik support doesn't sound nice as a duo. Like, Rubik 5 is a bit too selfless for the Rubik. He does want to play a bit greedier, so perhaps that Pos 5 comes through. We've got some options here. Oracle's on hand if you want something to purge off and maybe sustain your Storm in these fights. Again, it's not the easiest Storm game with all the controlled Shaman has on hand, so you might just want something to save.
Well,
it's a tricky one. You can see DogChamp. Yeah, they're digging through that reserve here.
Their pick will be the Tide. Fair enough. So there's your offlane Tide coming out now. That really does seem to indicate a support puck we're looking at here, but we'll leave it to the last pick and see what DogChamp is up to. So I don't mind the Tide. I don't think there's much in the way of dealing with this Tide Hunter this game. Of course, Kraken Shell going to be very effective this game up against all the disables that Electronic Boys do have. And there really isn't anything to counter the Ravage out, so I really do like this here from DogChamp. Electronic Boys into their fourth pickup. Now they have 50 seconds reserve time left. It does appear they are probably going to pick up their off-lane pickup here and leave the safe lane till their last pick. It can be kind of hard to pick the off-lane hero when you don't really know what you're up against yet. I believe we are still lacking the position 1 pickup here from DogChamp, so might be a bit of a tough pickup.
Yeah, I think there's one thing to watch out for Electronic Boys here as well. DogChamp can just run this Rubik Tidehunter lane and just completely destroy your right-click damage. So it's going to be hard to farm as well if you want to go for your safe lane pick early. You're not going to have a good time. Rubik Tide is just such a devastating lane, but that does mean DogChamp could be running a Puck 5, which is also weird. They go with the Juggernaut for speed, and this is something we've seen Speed play before. Really solid core to have. Helps sustain the push you do have on hand with a Kotl and Shaman, and heal it's always nice. So it's a solid here to have on the safe lane. Still probably not going to be having fun versus Rubik Tide, but at least you have the Blade Fury spin to help you out every time it's up. The issue is uptime for that spell isn't amazing for juggling the laning phase.
I think it is one of the better picks they could have made for sure, though, with that Jug, right? Because you even have the healing ward where you could just kind of back off and reset. And it should make it so DogChamp just don't outright destroy the lane down at that bot lane. But only time's going to tell, as we do have our final banouts coming out. Of course, DogChamp, they are going to focus in on just making sure those position 3s are banned out. Getting rid of the Timber Saw now, as they didn't really have many counters towards the Timber. And for Electronic Boys, I wonder what position 3 they go for here. They could be a little bit tricky and run the Void Spirit offlane if they want. And they could pick another mid laner. That is certainly an option. For now, they get rid of the Ricky and they get rid of the Monkey King, so just removing those position 1s for DogChamp. DogChamp, their final ban out, probably another offlane. I'm very curious to see what DogChamp does do for their own position 1 up against this Jug. Would have loved to see the Ricky, but obviously that's not going to be available.
Yeah, it's a limited pool. Troll's gone as well, Ursa's gone. You don't have that Lycan, so I think the only thing I'm seeing here for DogChamp's maybe a Slark pick. That can slide through for DogChamp. Electronic Boys under off, you mentioned it, but not many options there as well. I guess Centaur's in the pool. You've got Sand King as well if you want to play with Teamfight, although you run the risk of giving a lot of big spells towards your Rubik. So it's always that back and forth here for Electronic Boys to have to think about, really.
Well, 9 seconds left for this final pickup, Electronic Boys. All right, they pick up the Night Stalker, so a very kind of tempo-paced draft. And I actually really like the way they finish this out, because they do have the heroes that can kind of follow up with this Night Stalker and just be very aggressive and buy as much space for the Jug as humanly possible. So I do like this last pickup. I think it is probably a really nice counter towards the Puck and Storm Spirit on top, as well as even the Tide, because he can't crack and chill the silence off, obviously. But DogChamp go for a Phantom Lancer now. And in all fairness, John, there's not really a counter towards the PL this matchup, apart from maybe the Void Spirit, but I don't know, I don't feel confident about it. I think this is going to be a very nice PL game.
Yeah, it's a really strong PL pick for DogChamp. Not much AoE clearing here from Electronic Boys. I guess you've got the Keeper of the Light to maybe run down the illusions, but it's not amazing. So there's a lot of room here for Ritsu go in and out. Of course, the Ritsu PL is something that does stand out. We've seen him play this a lot. He does play it on the edge quite often. So a comfort pick for DogChamp sliding through. Overall, these drafts, very different from what we're used to seeing. A lot of back and forth. I think you can expect both sides to play as 4. Try to buy out space for their pause 1 in Electronic Boys. And I think DogChamp might want to give Rayla Lisa a bit more of that early farm. We'll see if they opt for that early Orchid or a fast BKB for Rayla Lisa. But then otherwise, it's just Ritsu's game. So a lot of back and forth. Looking forward to how it happens. I think the one edge Electronic Boys does have is that push. Like, they've still got the Shaman. They've still got this Jug. They need to play around taking these early objectives, shove out the waves with their Keeper of the Light, and try to prevent Ritsu from getting too much space on the map. Just clear out the map a lot more and stop the PL from farming way too fast.
Oh, I do agree with you on that, John. We'll go into game number 1 between DogChamp and Electronic Boys. See who can win this one out. It should be a very spicy matchup between these two. Again, both teams definitely looking for a big victory here in this game number 1 to try and snowball into game number 2. We'll get into it. Because I should mention, John, with Rayla Lisa, I do expect him to go for that first pickup Orchid first before the BKB. But I do imagine that he'll go for a BKB straight after the Orchid pickup. I don't really feel like he's going to have enough space to really pick up the Bloodstone and be that greedy this game. I suppose only time is going to tell, but I'd say Orchid into BKB probably going to be the way to go.
Yeah, it's the safest play here for Rayla Lisa. Enables his aggression and ensures that the early impact and control from the Night Stalker and Shaman aren't going to be too overwhelming for that Storm. So you're going to want to be active quick, and the timings for Rayla Lisa are going to be key here. You do see an early movement out here from the Electronic Boys, looking down bot, grouped up as 4.
Well, they're going to run into Bloody 9. Bloody 9, he's holding a skill point right now, and it looks like he wasn't actually spotted out. They're going to leave him be, but now they've run into Ritsu, which is a much more high priority target. The question is, can they lock him down? Double are going to move in, but there's your Doppel now. Ritsu going to try and go for a run here, and no, they won't hold him down. Like the Shaman just wasn't sure which illusion it was, and he probably didn't want to go for the level 1 shackles anyway. So it does kind of ruin your laning stages, the Shaman. Instead, he will go after Bloody 9, but he does pick up the level 1 Aether Shot. So there's no chance of killing off Bloody 9 here. He'll be perfectly fine, and it will be a 2-for-2 trade on the bounties. It looks like they are just going to run back to their respective lanes now. You are going to have 2-on-2s in the side lanes, and just the classic 1v1 mid, of course. Nothing too surprising here with this laning stage.
No shenanigans here, no clump ups for first blood, as we tend to see some other teams really like to do. Still, that top lane here for speed, not going to be a good time. You've got Luki around, you've got Yaren around, Rubik plus Tide, no right-click damage you can expect from speed, and every time that Blade Fury's down, he's going to have a pretty hard time holding himself up. So, just got to have to watch out for these early phases in the lane, and Albino Zebra, all he can really do is just illuminate out and take the range creep to ensure they get that steady EXP.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those lanes for Albino on the Coddle where he's just going to have to get to pulling very, very early on. I just don't think there's much he can do to really help out this Jug, and it is one of those games where speed, once he gets a couple levels up, he should be able to just kind of do his own thing without Albino being around. Speaking of though, Albino going to get caught out here by Luki and cop a fair bit of damage. Nowhere near enough to kill him off, but he's going to have to commit that salve early on. On the brighter side, I believe he should know there's an Observer Ward in the lane now that he should be able to get a D Ward off on. Does get the range creep as well, which is very nice from the Coddle, but now Speed's going to find himself in trouble. In fact, he's going to go onto Luki, who does TP straight out of the Coddle, on the Tide, and be perfectly fine.
Good aggression coming out, trying to punish Luki for overstepping. Not quite enough to find a kill. That is the spin down here for speed as well. So Yarn does know that he's got a little bit of space to get some harassment out. Of course, that does mean that we can take a look at the mid lane. Lisa up against Mio. Storm versus Void Spirit. Really steady lane. Lisa is working this one out quite well, though. Ahead in last hit so far, applying that early pressure on Void Spirit. And as long as this maintains, Lisa is not going to be displeased at all. Like, the power runes are still really important, but you get off to this smooth start in the Storm, you're an easy ride up onto that Orchid.
He's got the bottle up very early on as well, Lisa, so in those power runes at the 4-minute mark, going to be very important between these two. See who does manage to get the first one, but Albino top lane does go down. Yaren able to pick up the first blood and didn't even need the Fade Bolt, John. He just got to lift off into the gush of Luki. It does end up being a very easy kill onto the Keeper of the Light.
That's the one thing with the Keeper of the Light. You can't... you're not really tanky enough to trade. Like, you've got very little armor. The Gush just takes out a lot more of that. And the Rubik's just able to abuse that. He's got these early boots up on Yaren, so the move speed you have naturally on Albino isn't amazing. It does allow him to run you down really quick here.
I really don't think there's much Albino can do in this lane. I feel like he should probably just go to pulling, but looks like the small camp was blocked at the time. They're trying to go onto Yaren, but he's just going to TP straight out. Of course, that's going to be one of the beauties of this lane for DogChamp, is if they have their TPs available, they've got really nothing to be worried about, as there's no way to cancel the TPs, apart from the Will-O-Wisp, but of course that's not going to be available for quite a while. Speed, he's going to go onto Luki, but he just literally doesn't care. In fact, he'll just turn back around now with the Gush, and of course he does still have a salve available, so he could just heal himself up.
Keeping that lane shoved in, 2 range creeps now. Going to be a hard time for Speed, and does at least get some safe last hits under tower, and that does let Albino Zebra get a pull-off. So top lane still back and forth here for the side of Electronic Boys. Down bot, though, the last lane we haven't talked about. You do have Giant, level 3 now in the Night Stalker, is laning with AA. They are up against Bloody Nine's support, Puck, and ooh.
Yeah, they got Bloody Nine. That's one of the things he's going to have to be very wary about, just getting hit by those shackles of AA. He does end up going down. Ritsu, of course, on the PL. Not much he can really do to help out the Puck if he does get caught out like that. It's almost just a guaranteed kill for Giant. Once you've got the Hex up on top, it's going to be a very dangerous time for Bloody Nine. But Bloody Nine, though, he will just TP straight back to the lane and bring some items over to Ritsu. Looks like he wasn't too dissuaded by the shackles that was out there by AA.
Yeah, it's really all you want. Like, you have to go back in the lane to soak that EXP. The Puck does not want to fall too far behind in EXP gain, but this duo of PL plus Puck is just not amazing. And there's not much kill potential here. It's back to that same issue as well that you saw from Electronic Boys on the opposing side up top, but they don't really have control with a Puck PL as well, compared to the shackles Shaman has and that Hex down the line. So just going to be a steady lane here for DogChamp to try to farm up. And so far,
Yeah, he went for that bounty room, but it's going to cost him his own life. Yeah, I'm sure he knew what he was getting into when he threw that orb out. AA tried to race him for it for a second, but it looks like they're more than happy to just take the kill. You know, usually I'd say as a position 5 to get the bounty rune, I'd argue it's well worth it, but in fact hold that thought, because Speed was dropping very low up in that top lane, but looks like he is just going to be able to pop the healing ward and be fine. But what I was saying, John, is usually position 5's getting bounties for their own life is, I would say, worth it. But I don't really like the idea of giving too many kills to the Night Stalker early on. And as well as that, you're playing a position 5 Puck, which does need a lot of XP to be online. And, I just don't know if I'd say it's worthwhile this time around for Bloody Nine.
It's a difficult trade to make. I think considering your options in lane, it's still not too bad, but it's really not the ideal. Do get a nice little pickup here for the Electronic Boys, and they go into Ritsu.
They do. They've got the Crippling Fear as well, and that's going to be an easy pickup if they can keep that silence up. But do they have the damage? No, they don't. The Doppel is out, and Ritsu is going for a run, but Giant's still chasing him down. A salve out from Ritsu. Is it going to be enough? It is not. They do get the kill. A very nice one there from Electronic Boys, as now Yaren is going to be forced to TP in, but can they get a kill here? Mio, he's even rotated now on the Void Spirit, trying to go back onto Bloody Nine. The Orb away is going to be fine, but Yaren is not going to be able to get himself out. And now up at the top lane, they even found Luki. Just an absolute disaster across the map for DogChamp. And it all kind of went back to that rotation from the Rubik, John. They thought they could get maybe a bit of a trade there with the rotation out from Yaren, but support puck plus Rubik is not a good combination for kills up until you're level 6.
No, definitely not. I think Yaren maybe got the TP off a bit too late. He needed to be there earlier, right when they were already making moves on the PL. If he came in a little bit earlier, they might have been able to pick up that Shadow Shaman they were looking for. But as you mentioned, Giants just finding all these kills. 3-0 so far on the side of this Night Stalker. And with his first night, and you don't tend to see too many kills nowadays, but Giants just on a roll. Level 6 up, shoving in that bot lane. He's got the siege creep. He's pressuring Bloody 9. And Ritsu's just forced to go elsewhere.
Crippling Fear is being caught out. Double A going to be able to get the shackles as well. That should be a dead puck, as they can't cancel the shackles yet. They don't even have the Ravage yet on Luki. So Giant, his 4th pickup, and now Ritsu. He denies himself off to a neutral camp. But it is still a death on the PL, and Giant, he's giving him the tip. He's happy with it.
Yeah, and this is time where your PL's not farming. He can't even go up to the top lane, which is normally where you see cores go once their safe lane's off. They switch lanes around. Not working out for the side of DogChamp. And you can see Electronic Boys. They've got so much control on the map. They've got these stacks coming out from Albino Zebra. Got a lot of gold coming in. 1 to 6, 2k advantage for the Electronic Boys. So far, so good. DogChamp right now just needs to hold back. Wait for the Orchid on Rayla Lisa. It is forming up in a very good time here for the Storm. And perhaps play around his first Ravage of Luki, but considering how far behind the rest of the team is, it's going to be hard to find a follow-up to that Ravage.
That it will be. In fact, they found Ritsu. The PL again. Yeah, Ritsu mid lane getting caught out, and that'll be a dead PL. And this is getting really, really bad now for DogChamp, as the zip-in is going to be there from Rayla Lisa, but it is only going to be a support Shadow Shaman. Definitely not the kind of trade you want there from DogChamp. Props to Mio for the nice rotation out with the Shaman, but this is just such a rough start for DogChamp. All props to Electronic Boys. They're doing a fantastic job with this draft.
They're really playing around their timings quite well. They've bought a lot of space out now for speed. He had a bit of a slower start in lane. It was not a fun time, but he's level 7 now. He's got his Midas almost done on the jug. So we're looking at maybe a 10-minute Midas or 10.5-minute Midas here. And if you leave this jug alone with a Midas, that leads to a faster Maelstrom perhaps, or anything such else to help control that PL. And they keep roaming here, side of Electronic Board.
Well, I think when you've got a 2k lead this early on with the Night Stalker draft, John, I think you can just go. No reason to slow down. And look at Ritsu. He's forced to farm in the dangerous part of the map. So, he wants to give the triangle over to his Storm Spirit. Looks like he's going to move his way up towards that top lane. He's probably just going to be chased down no matter where he goes. Of course, DogChamp, they are going to group up now up that top lane and perhaps try to go for that 10-minute tower push. They still have the Ravage available as well to go for a big team fight if they so wish. I think the more important aspect here is just get that top tier 1 tower ASAP to open up the map a little bit for themselves. It's going to be a matter of whether Electronic Boys really want to take this fight. Looks like for now they are just splitting up, and maybe they'll just go for the counter push down to the bot lane. In fact, speaking of bot lane, Giant, he's going to get jumped now by Rayla Lisa, but do they have the damage output? Nope, no they won't. Giant is going to be perfectly fine. Rayla Lisa will not chase too far in by himself.
It's a hard target to go for Rayla Lisa. You've got to watch out for these timings now from Electronic Boys. Level 6 up in AA. That means the wards are ready, and they are grouping up mid for a bit of a mid push. They've even got speed around here with the Omni Slash ready to go. So they're going to look for a quick tower trade. The side of DogChamp are still clumped up top, and despite the numbers up top, it's not going to be as fast of a push compared to when those Shaman wards do drop.
Oh, here they go. Siege Creep still there. AA, he's just going to drop it straight off the bat, and that should be a tier 1 mid tower just gone. Bloody 9, he stuck around a bit too long there. The Hex is going to come out straight into the shackles, but do they have the damage? Well, they'll have the control there from Mio. They get another pickup on Electronic Boys. DogChamp just not really finding the answer to the aggression quite yet from Electronic Boys, I've got to say. What is it, John? You seem to have found something funny across the map.
Ritsu has a Midas as well.
Yeah.
Ritsu went Midas on the PL. Not the most common, but I think when you're this far behind, you do need some way to get that EXP flow in, that steady farm in, to counteract how fast the Jug can work. This is still lined up pretty well compared to Speed's timing on Midas.
Oh, Omni. Speed? Not sure about that one. He just goes straight onto Lukey, but the TP is going to be straight out. It's not a bad attempt. I like the idea he had, but obviously if the TP was available, that was the easy play to make. That being said as well, Yaren now has Omni/Stolen on the Rubik, which, you know, it's questionable how effective it's going to be, but you could still kind of use it to get a bit of damage out. Of course, while that was happening, John, bot lane, they do get the bottom tier 1 tower, and now an immediate smoke out with Giant. He does have the Dark Ascension. It's time to go. In fact, a double damage rune. Yaren might get baited into this as Double A moves in with the Hex, but now the zip in. The DD was already taken. Giant, he gets the Crippling Fear off on the Storm, but a nice Ravage out. Lukey stopping them in their tracks. They will still kill off Rayna Lisa. Can they find more? Bloody Nine, he is very low and he does go down to the Ether Shock of Double A. Now Albino, he does drop, but Lukey, he's probably set to drop as well, and he does go down. In fact, they just found so many heroes across this map. 4 heroes going down for the side of DogChamp and Electronic Boys. A very dominant team fight, even with the Ravage going off.
Yeah, this is the only bright side right now. This is a lot of space for Ritsu. He's still playing up top, unpunished, solo, just getting some farm up, maximizing this Midas. And that was not the best Orchid reveal coming out, although they zip in again.
Do mid lane, Double A, gonna get caught out, does go down. It's the game's going in a way where you can only really focus on the supports right now if you are DogChamp. Luckily though, Rayna Lisa with the Orchid can just continuously do that if he so wishes. I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot more zips in just a moment as Albino now showing himself in the mid lane. Speed also going to show himself. This could be dangerous, but he does still have that mid-tier 1 tower on his side of the map. Still, they're going to zip in. Rayna Lisa gets the Orchid off, and here come the TPs. Do they have enough time, though? No, they don't. Speed, a bit overly confident there, but now Mio moving in with the Remnant does end up picking up Bloody Nine. Still a very nice trade out for DogChamp.
Yeah, and they're going to be happy with keeping down Speed. Really good pickup there, maximizing this Orchid again on Rayna Lisa. He is going for the Bloodstone still, it looks like, on the Storm. Not too sure about that one. I still feel like Orchid BKB might be better, but if he wants to kind of build up these ganks, if he knows he's going to live true to control and go for these softer targets one by one, then the Bloodstone will reward you. The issue is, will Electronic Boys allow that? I don't think they should. You've got to clump up, play while they're strong, and keep this aggression up. They're playing down bot now, just taking control of this jungle. And the side of DogChamp really just don't have too much space to go around here. The only one showing up on this jungle is Lukey. He's the only one that they can really toss into the fire here.
I really think this Bloodstone pickup from Rayna Lisa is going to come back to bite him if he's not too careful. I mean, we saw it in the last team fight. If he gets hexed or if he gets shackled, he is just going to die. So you do have the Crippling Fear silence out from the Night Stalker. Speaking of dying, Lukey was being slowed up, but he's going to be alright. They do spot out Bloody Nine as well, but they don't have a way to close the gap. Still now, zip in, Rayna Lisa down at the bot lane, trying to just take down Speed. He's still alive, but almost down, and does eventually end up going down as Giant keeps moving in onto Rayna Lisa, but the Ravage is out from Lukey onto all 4 heroes, and they're going to be able to turn this one around. Double A holding down one. It's not going to be enough though. Yaren, he does make it out. Still Bloody Nine trying to fight back, but he is also going to die. Still a 3-for-1 so far as Rayna Lisa back in onto Giant. And they do make it work. A 4-for-1 trade for DogChamp. That's a very important team fight, and maybe just a bit of over-aggression out from the side of Electronic Boys, John, as they were fighting right underneath that tier 2 tower at 15.5 minutes. Probably not the smartest idea.
No, definitely overconfident there from the side of the Electronic Boys. Speed is constantly putting himself up front, which leaves him very vulnerable to that Orchid. Like, he doesn't have BKB, no Manta style yet. Still saving up for that Maelstrom. So it's going to be a while until our Jug is ready to dispel that silence on himself. And as long as you've got that control on the Storm, you can easily collapse on that Jug. Although,
Lukey. Not lane. I mean, he's a tanky Tide Hunter, but he's not really that tanky. He gets surrounded and He's eventually going to go down. He had the blink in his backpack as well, so he couldn't really try to make the reaction play and blink away from Mio. Another nice pick up here from Electronic Boys, and it seems like the idea here, John, is they're not going to be able to deal with the PL later on, so they really want to try and get as many objectives as humanly possible. They are just going to keep rotating across the map and trying to pick off some heroes. There's Rayla Lisa on the mid lane. Be careful, but he is going to be able to zip away in time. That T1 mid tower is just going to get denied off.
Yeah, that evens up the map control here for the side of DogChamp, though. So we're looking at even objectives so far across the map. 2 tier 1s down for both sides. Electronic Boys still looking to get more objectives. They're still playing around as bot jungle. We are seeing Giant rush a BKB now, so that they've got the solid frontliner that can tank the Orchid. Gonna be a while until that's up. And we're also seeing Mio still work his way towards that Ag. Still 3 parts away. Yults has been influential, but as long as Mio's not in front, he's been using the Yults mainly as the offensive setup. They do drop the wards for that tier 2 now, but again, you're seeing DogChamp just gonna let Ritsu ride us up top as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, a tier 2 for a tier 2 trade. Ritsu, he does take it much slower, but his team is right behind, and looks like they are just trying to use Ritsu as bait up at this top lane. Do they TP to try and defend this? The answer is no. Electronic Boys, they're not falling for this at all. They're just kind of running their way up with the smoke. So they are going to try and force a team fight. Now, this is into the ravage of Luki Luki. So it could be a dangerous predicament for them if they do get caught out again. Looks like they aren't going to be comfortable to move their way up to the high ground. You know, John, going back to Giant on the Night Stalker, I think he should just pick up the Blink Dagger rather than going for the BKB first. It is going to be important for him to just get the Blink off onto the Puck, onto the Storm, and just silence them up. Even, of course, the PL here. So that Crippling Fury is one of the best pieces of lockdown they have this game. That might just be the idea from Giant as well. He has saved up quite a bit of gold. He may just go ahead and just pick up the Blink first.
It'd be a lot stronger and help them start these fights. You are seeing the side of DogChamp really start to build in, and there's that Blink. They need to play with that power spike because they've lost the lead. Ritsu's now #1 in farm. They've traded the tier 2 for free. Even though it's a tier 2 for tier 3, that tier 2 up top should not have fallen. And now it's the Roche time for DogChamp. They've still got Ravage. They are scanned out, but you are running right into Ravage.
Yeah, but they've got the Blink Night Stalker, John. This could be very, very dangerous as they could just get jumped with the Crippling Fear. And in fact, there they go, but the Orchid does come out, but a nice Blink reaction away from Giant. It's going to be enough to force DogChamp out of that Roshan pit. The Roshan, it's pretty healthy anyway. It's not like you really need to try and contest it right now. DogChamp, they know this, so they're just going to keep pushing out the lanes, keep farming up. No real reason to rush, especially when you do have the PL to kind of rely on later on into the game. I think Electronic Boys are still the ones that do have a timer on their heads with this kind of draft. They are going to group up again. Do we see another smoke out perhaps? It looks like they don't have one, so they're just going to try and make the jump in onto Ritsu, who's just chilling out in that mid lane. They should know he's there now, but Crippling Fear not going to be there from Giant. He didn't blink in, and now the Ravage, Luki. He just jumps in onto 3 of them. They take down Speed straight off the bat. Yaren going to be in a spot of danger, but so are the side of Electronic Boys as now the Dream Coil out from Bloody Nine. They're trying to fight Luki, but he's way too tanky on that Tidehunter. There's the Vortex out from Rayla Lisa, and they'll get Giant down onto AA. They get the Shaman, and that is just a really bad team fight for Electronic Boys. So I'm not sure what they were thinking, John. You saw the Crippling Fear being popped there by Giant, but he did not blink in. The bit of hesitation does cost them a team fight again.
It's a huge, costly mistake to make. That's going to open up the Roche now for sure for the side of DogChamp. They put the bodies in. They do not have any spells to throw in there. Even if you had some form of buyback here, you do not have the Dark Ascension.
Oh,
they
Mio.
will get one more.
Great lift out from Yaren. Dust out, they've caught out Albino as well. Zebra will end up dying, and now even Speed, he's going to be alright, as Rayla Lisa was a bit low on mana. gonna be enough. DogChamp straight back into that Roshan pit. It's a very slow process for the Roshan, and yeah, they're just gonna leave it be. Probably not a smart decision to keep just trying to force that without the Ravage up. It's a 4k net worth lead now for DogChamp, and considering how the game started, John, this is a very, very good kind of predicament here for the Radiant.
Oh yeah, they're finding themselves on the up and up. Ritsu is now very clearly in the lead here on his PL. Has his Manta up, going straight for a Butterfly to improve his durability. That's going to make it a nightmare for our Jug to deal with that. No MKB in sight for Speed, and it's going to be a long time till that's up as he's still saving for his own Manta. So the space bought out here by DogChamp is big. We did see the Glimmer Cape reveal from Albino Zebra. Probably their only save right now, but they're ready with the Dust and...
Ooh, Dream Coil not going to connect on Mio. And on the brighter side for DogChamp, that is a support puck who... You know, Dream Coil is such a low cooldown anyway. I don't think they're going to mind. You may as well just try. So, Bloody 9, he'll have a backup in about 65 seconds. Not too big of a deal. Like, Ravage is going to be up in about 5 seconds, but Mio is going to chase down the Tide. You do have the Aghanim Scepter up on Mio now, so you've got to watch out for that silence, but the Aether Remnant won't land. He finally uses the Yules now. Luki still being chased down, but Speed! He goes down to the top lane. Meanwhile, Luki is still getting chased down, but now the Ravage comes out. And Ritsu, he's going to come in from the backside. Now the rest of the team is TPing in. This does not look great for the side of Electronic Boys. As now Mio, he's in big, big trouble. They'll try to silence up the Storm, but they get the kill. And now Albino still trying to run, but he is also going to die. On DogChamp, they recognized how slow the kill was going to be on Luki. So they went after Speed first and then just made the rotation back into the Tidehunter. Just great coordination out from this Radiant side.
That is very costly for the side of Electronic Boys. The lead grows wider here for DogChamp. 7k up, 18 to 15, and it's their turn to smoke. They did blow Ravage, but they've got a lot in the tank here for Rayla Lisa. He's got that fresh Bloodstone. He's already built up some charges. He wants to find more, and this is going to be an issue. Like, he's not being punished at all for going Bloodstone first. This is just going to give him a smooth ramp up into the BKB, and once that's up on Rayla Lisa, well, you just absolutely have no control once that BKB is running.
The one thing was, I mean, you were meant to kind of use that Crippling Fear with the Blink on the Night Stalker to really abuse the fact that Rayla Lisa doesn't have the BKB up yet, but we've just seen it. It hasn't happened. Just too much hesitation at the critical moments there from Electronic Boys have cost them that timing. And now you're in real danger as Rayla Lisa, if he wants now, yeah, he's just going to pick up a BKB. He could just be this greedy and not get punished for it. I think Electronic Boys, they've really missed a pretty big timing here. They're now 8k behind. You keep bringing it up at Speed, he's still just trying to work towards that Manta style for now. Very, very slow process here for the Jug. Well, before that comes up, they're just not able to get anything else done. I think they're just going to try and secure the Manta.
Yeah, all they can do is stall out until Speed's semi-ready to at least stand in front, or at least not get orchided up. This has been a constant issue for Speed. You've seen him die, what, 3-4 times to the Orchid coming out from Rayla Lisa? Just superb targeting out from DogChamp. And they're confident. They've got these Guardian Greaves up now, and Luki. Ravage is going to be up in about 10 seconds. And Luki is going to go for that. He's going for that shard. It's beautiful. Just really good and push. The damage is ridiculous. And the cooldown is insane. So expect even more coming out from Luki. Like, this is just a fabulous time for DogChamp already.
Maybe a sneaky Roshan, though, John. Eboys. Yeah, they dropped the wards. They want this pretty bad. One of the wards is outside of the Roshan pit, but there's no vision to scout this out. They're going to just try and rush this, but it does look like DogChamp are well aware that this could be happening. Bloody 9 going to suss it out now with the Orb, and he does spot them out. They have plenty of time to initiate here with the Blink Ravage. This doesn't look great for Eboys as Lukey just jumps in with a massive ravage now. Onto 4 heroes, straight onto that Keeper of the Light, and they are just melting in that Roshan pit. Albino, he barely gets out with his life intact. In fact, Lukey, he's the one dropping low now, but so is the Roshan. Who do you focus? They try to go onto Giant. Roshan still dropping Ray Lisa. He does pick up the Aegis now. Crippling Fear just not doing enough. The fight continues back onto Speed. He'll Manta off the silence. Who they aim for now? It looks like they do pick up Giant, but Yaren does also go down and now back into Mio. Meanwhile, you do see Ritsu taking down Albino Zebra. And that'll be your Void Spirit also dying. Speed, or rather Double A, is still trying to fight by himself with the shackles out. Ritsu literally just ignores him. Lukey wants to get a bit of revenge here, and they're just... Alright, they're just letting him shackle him up. Ritsu, he's having a good time, John. It's a back massage here for Ritsu. Double A going for the TP out. Is it going to be enough? No.
Oh, man.
Oh, I love it.
DogChamp.
I love it.
This is it. That is NA right there in a nutshell. You know you're on top. You know you're in the lead. You style a bit. You let them know. Although Ray Lisa,
mid lane does lose the Aegis. Meanwhile, Double A saying he clicked the outpost by accident. That's why the TP was taking so long, apparently. It's, very fun stuff here from these two teams, but DogChamp, very, very serious. John, 16k net worth lead now. I feel like a broken record, but I already mentioned this. Eboys, they've kind of missed a pretty big timing here. It feels like they're going to be locked up in their base for quite a bit. And there's a lift up as Ray Lisa does get a pause off now on the Storm. And I must admit, the servers are slightly laggy today. But it's fine. I'm sure the players will be able to sort it out. And they do. Question is, do they get the kill onto Speed? He's been lifted up in that mid lane, but I don't believe they'll have enough time to close the gap here. They won't. Speed will be fine. Look at Ritsu in the back lines, just kind of looping around back onto the Jug now. Speed. He focused down. Bloody Nine looking for a big Dream Coil, but can't find an angle. Now Mio going to jump back in with a nice Remnant out on the puck. But it's going to do nothing. They do manage to secure that tier 2 mid tower.
Yeah, that's one lane left here for Eboys. Only the bot lane left for them to play with and defend. Not going to be an easy time. We still need a lot of farm flying out on Speed. And they are 17k down now. You look at Ray Lisa, the BKB we were talking about is up. So it's going to be harder to control the Storm in this match. And it just gives a lot more angles for Ray Lisa to start these fights. Not only that, but the Shard is up on Lukey. So there's that damage and cooldown on Anchor Smash. Going to be really hard to fight into that.
Speed. He's been caught out in his triangle. He'll try to go for the spin away with the Glimmer Cape. And that may be enough, but no. Ritsu's making his way in now. They just get a massive ravage off Lukey. Jumping in again. Just cleaning them up. Double A, he's trying to get a kill for his team. He's going to get bursted down. Speed's still there, but the Dream Call does come out. Bloody Nine finds another. Giant, he gets a kill, but the GG's been called. They have had enough of this game number 1. And John, you look at the items of Ritsu, and we'll see it in the post-game screen, but he had the Butterfly as well as a hard up. It was just looking way too tough for Electronic Boys to come back from.
No, definitely too tough. You mentioned it, but Electronic Boys just kind of slipped up. They had a really good spike in that time right after laning. Like we saw Speed actually hold out in that Rubik Tide lane quite well, all things considered. He was finding some good farm. They found some good objectives. But then a couple of misplays, I'd say mispositioning here from Electronic Boys. They kept throwing Speed up front, which I don't think was really the game plan. That just allowed Ray Lisa to constantly jump in with his Orchid. No saving spells here from Electronic Boys. They had nothing like an Oracle or a Winter Wyvern to stall, or even an LC to just purge off. So Speed was always a sitting duck. And DogChamp just bought the space out for Ritsu. I think a lot of this really came down to Ray Lisa and Lukey. But even Bloody Nine and Yaren just did a lot of work. Like the entire team on DogChamp just looked amazing this first game.
That they did, John. And of course, with that, we are going to move on to game number 2. It is going to be a short break of 10 minutes before we do get into that second game draft. But for now, it's MLP Dota and JohnXFire. We'll see you in the chat. We'll be cat jamming, of course, as we always do. Hopefully, we can all cat jam to a bit of music while we are waiting during the break. See you all again very, very soon.